How a person behaves with you is a reflection of them and not you. Let's explore this idea. As kids, we are completely dependent on our parents and caregivers. When we are loved and appreciated, we blossom. But if there is neglect and disapproval, it seems life threatening because what if the parent decides that we are not worth their love and stops caring for us? So we mold our behavior around the likes and dislikes of our parents because we lack emotional maturity. Even if someone has the best parents, there would still be some scenarios where the kids would feel this way. Let's say a parent returned from work and he or she was exhausted, and the kid was trying to show this painting to the parent, but the parent could not show any interest, and the kid would think that there is something wrong with me. That's why my parent is behaving this way. Also, it does not help that instead of making the action or behavior acceptable or unacceptable, it's the kid who is usually labeled as good or bad. You ate all the cookies, you're a bad kid. And so all this gets internalized. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. This is the part of psyche where we store all the hurt, pain, rejections, triggers, and we keep it down there and we try to stay away from it as much as possible so that it never gets touched upon. So, this becomes an unconscious script in our life. We grow up and we keep acting in ways so that we gain approval from others, and our self worth becomes dependent on this response that we get from others. If others approve of us, then we are good. If they don't, then there is something wrong with us. So, we constantly keep assessing our environment and try to operate in a way which gets us most approval. But this is overwhelming and unsustainable. We become too attached to how people are responding to us, and then we make it all about us. There is something in me which is causing them to react the way they are reacting. If we deconstruct this, we will see that how people act and behave is mainly based on their own inner dynamic. Think about when you were having a great day. You treated everyone well, you held the door open, you smiled at strangers, and when you were having an awful day, you just kept yourself in check so that you don't lash out at others. You didn't make eye contact. So, this is how people operate too. How we behave and act is based on how we are feeling inside, and this may change on a daily basis or even moment to moment. So, if you are out in public and someone cut you off in traffic, then maybe that guy is having a bad day, or maybe they're just a jerk. If you are at a restaurant and a server cannot get your order right, maybe that server does not like their job, or maybe it's their first day at work. Even in familiar situations, say your boss is angry at you because you missed a deadline and now they are afraid that they might lose the funding for this project. Now, what we do is we make all these situations about us. Let's take an example. Let's say your hair is brown and I tell you, I don't like your green hair. You would not care because you don't resonate with it. But if I tell you you have a big nose and you are insecure about your nose already, then you will take notice whether I'm right or not because it strikes a chord within you. So, whenever we have these scenarios around us, we may take it personally because at some level we feel that we are responsible for them. So, the driver cutting us off in traffic may mean that I am a bad driver or a slow driver. The server not getting my order correct might translate in my head as the server does not respect me. My boss shouting at me might mean that my boss treats me like garbage because I cannot speak up. So, all these scenarios trigger our pain body because at some level we feel that we have all these bad qualities in us that the other person can see, and that's why they are targeting us. And so, we deserve this behavior from the other person. So, don't take it personally. Okay, does that mean that we let this behavior slide because I don't like it? No, that's not the case. Don't take it personally means that don't make it about you in a way that the other person's bad behavior is okay because you deserve it at some level. That is what you don't have to agree upon. But you still address the situation. So maybe with the driver, you cannot do much, but for the server, you can ask for a different server or you can talk to their manager if the server is rude. Even your boss, you can tell your boss to talk to you in a respectful manner. And if it was your mistake, if you missed a deadline, then take ownership of that. We can still correct errors. It's more about how we are treating this feedback. We are not making it about us that we are inherently a bad cookie. That's why these things happen around us. We can still make mistakes and we can still correct mistakes, but it is not about identity. It's not about our own inherent weaknesses which are creating these problems. Byron Katie says, no two people have met. Essentially, we are meeting each other through our perceptions. How I behave with you is going to be based on my perception of you, and vice versa. When we take things personally, when we consider other people's behavior toward us personally, then we start justifying their actions and we take the blame for it because deep down it triggers something within us. It hits our pain body, and then we think that there is something wrong with us. That's why we are witnessing this behavior. We see this pattern in abusive relationships where the abuser tries to inflict all this pain on the other partner because they are not able to handle it and they don't care how they are affecting the other person. Whereas the person who's being abused, they feel it's their mistake and they deserve it on some level, and that's why they continue to stay in such relationships. When we stop taking things personally, then we can address the situation because now we have the freedom to respond. We have taken our self worth out of the equation, and so we have more resourcefulness. Now we can actually look for solutions so that we can address the problem. Nisargadatta, a non dualistic teacher, said, externalization is the key to liberation. What we do is we keep internalizing everything. We make everything about us. If someone is behaving a certain way, it is because something in me is inspiring that behavior. But when we stop internalizing and making things about ourselves, then we can look outward for resolution. That's when we stop staying in undesirable situations because we know we are worthy and we stop tolerating other people's bad behavior. So, in relationships, when people use this line during breakups, it's not you, it's me. This is actually true. It is all about them. First step is getting in touch with our internal triggers and noticing that how we make everything about us, how we take everything personally. Next step is awareness. And with gradual effort, we can be conscious of these patterns and undo them. Then, when we are in a situation, we can see it clearly. And if it does not serve us, then we can change the situation, fix the situation, or we can leave the situation. So, don't take anything personally. Thanks for watching. Bye.